Bonjour. The second lesson today is on verbs that take être in the Passé Composé. Back on March the 3rd, we started Passé Composé. If you recall, we used avoir as our helping verb, and I told you there was another set of verbs that used être. And ever since March, I've been telling you, don't use I went, because we haven't learned how to say that yet. Well, today you're going to learn how to say I went, okay? So there's 17 verbs that take être in the Passé Composé, and they're on this chart here. And in addition to taking être, the past participle is going to agree with the subject, just like an adjective. So if the subject is feminine, your past participle will add an E. If your subject is plural, your past participle will add an S. And if your subject is feminine plural, your past participle will add an ES. Okay? Let's take a look at the big board here. So I've drawn a house. I call these 17 verbs the house of être, la maison d'être. And this is just a memory device for you to visualize the verbs in and around the house. It makes it easier for you to remember which 17 take être. Okay? So we have all the verbs going into the house: aller, to go; arriver, to arrive; entrer, to enter; and venir, to come. Then we have these two verbs leaving the house: sortir, to go out; and partir, to leave. Then we have these verbs that are returning: retourner, to return; revenir, to come back; and rentrer, to return home; and passer par, to pass by. Passer par is not in your book. Your book only gives you 16. This is number 17 down here. It's a regular ER verb. Inside of the house, we have the verb monter, which means to go up, and the verb descendre, which means to go down, and the verb tomber, to fall. And then up here in the second floor of the house, I have the verb rester, which does not mean to rest. It's a false cognate. Rester means to stay. And the verb devenir, to become. I didn't have anywhere else to put devenir, so I just put it up there with rester. You're probably asking yourself, where's the verb dormir, to sleep? Dormir does not take être as a helping verb. Dormir takes avoir. So dormir is not in the house of être, okay? So here's your 17 verbs. Here's the last two: mourir, to die. I put it in the clouds. And naître, to be born. Those two are very irregular. All the irregular ones I've underlined in red. And I've made a chart for you here. So the two that are compounds of venir and venir itself end in a U. Venu, revenu, and devenu. Okay, so those are irregulars. You would think those would end in an I, but they do not. Okay, so IR changes to a U here. And then mourir, the past participle is M-O-R-T. Think of mortician or mortuary. And naître, to be born, the past participle is né, N-E. If you do crossword puzzles, you might have seen the clue maiden name, and that is usually N-E-E for a woman, né, okay? So those are the irregular ones that must be memorized. All the other ones are formed just like we did with the avoir verbs in the Passé Composé, okay? How do you form these irregular ones? Well, let me just fix this for 1 second here. I was born in 2005. You would say je suis né en, that's an N there, en 2005. For the girls, you would add the extra E. The boys would be N-E accent aigu, girls the extra E. She did not come to my house. Here's an example of the negatives. Elle n'est pas venue with the extra E, chez moi. Okay? So that's how you form these with the agreement in the Passé Composé. Let's take a look at the verb tomber down here. Here's a conjugation of a regular ER verb. Je suis tombé, tu es tombé, il est tombé, elle est tombée. Now on the je form, you could have the extra E. If you're a girl and you wanted to say I fell, you're going to add the extra E. If you're talking to someone who's a girl, did you fall? You're going to add the extra E. Down here, she fell, that will always have the E. We fell, nous sommes tombés, is either going to end in an S for plural or an ES for feminine plural. Vous êtes tombé, you fell. Now you know that you can be singular or plural. So tombé, and for this one, can be 4 different ways. Just BE accent aigu, BES for masculine plural, BEES for feminine plural, and then just tombé with nothing. Okay, so 4 different ways to say you fell. Ils sont tombés with the extra S, and elles sont tombées with the extra ES. Okay, so these past participles are kind of like adjectives. They're agreeing with the subject. There's another, besides the house, there's another way I always tell students to remember the 17 verbs, and that's by remembering the title Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp. And each one of these letters represents one of the verbs in the house of Etre. Okay? And the last thing for this lesson, some of you with inquisitive minds are probably asking, why are these 17 verbs lumped together? And the reason is they are intransitive. None of these verbs can take a direct object. In English they can. You can say, I went home, okay? But in French you cannot. You have to say, je suis allé à la maison with a prepositional phrase. So this is not in your book, not important that you know the rule why, but in case somebody wanted to know, that's the reason. I will link a smartboard presentation and another explanation onto the discussion board. So please study all these different presentations, and hopefully you won't have any trouble with the assignments. We'll do a little bit of an assignment on it today, and then definitely Wednesday and Friday. Okay? Au revoir.